Hey everybody, how's it going? Um, this video is a pure ramble video um, about me and stuff like that, how I got into this type of hobby. So if you don't like this type of stuff, feel free to skip it. I don't want to bore people too badly, that I do already. Before I do that, I want to say thanks to Tony Pony. He's he actually gave me a shout out on one of his recent videos that he did, and I really appreciate that. So Um, thanks a lot, Tony Pony F. If anybody hasn't checked out his channel, I suggest you do. Before I actually made this account, I had another account where I just essentially ghosted, if you will, through a bunch of channels, and he was one of the ones I watched a lot, as well as people like Nataku, Bootleg Painting, Ken Lupian, Trainaholic, etc. And then I eventually made this channel, and forgot to resubscribe to some people. But I'm going through that, and we'll rectify that situation. Anyway, firstly, a little bit about myself. I live on Long Island, New York. Not that that matters, but in case you're wondering where in the global map of things I'm situated, that is where it is. Nassau County. I do a lot of my gaming in Suffolk County for wargaming. In Selden, and because it's it's a good gaming store, and it's open late. It has late hours normally, and then they don't close always on time, so they can stay even later. I've been there once till 4 a.m. Because we're in the middle of a game. So that's pretty cool. I also do RPGs. I haven't like tabletop RPGs. I haven't done it in a while, but when we do that, it's normally in the Nassau County area, so we move around a lot. Anyway, I got into the model hobby for wargaming back in around 2019, 99ish, like when I was pretty much going from middle school to high school. I've done like model cars and stuff before that. I don't count that though. Although that does help. And that was with classic BattleTech. I have a couple of pewter models which I can't find right now because when I redid my room months ago, I don't know where they went, and I haven't never really tried to look because I'm lazy. But I had like a Timberwolves and stuff. I was a huge fan of classic BattleTech. Still am a huge fan of BattleTech. A Mech Warrior, and I have all like Twilight of the Clans novel series, the entire series. I read it. I'm a huge fan of the clans, especially Smoke Jaguar. I played Mech Warrior 2, Ghostbusters Legacy expansion, Mercenaries expansion, Mech Warrior 3, Mech Warrior 3 Pirates Moon. I think there's some other expansion for it, Mech Warrior 4, Mech Warrior 4 Black Knight, Mech Warrior 4 Mercenaries, Mech 4 Mech Packs, Mech Commander 2, Mech Commander expansion, whatever that was called. BattleTech for Sega. I mean, name it. I pretty much played all the games that I could get my hands on. I own a lot of the mech compendium books, like BattleTech 3050, 3055, 3060, 3065, 3067, or something like that, or 3020. I own a lot of those, which I think are for some of them wargaming. Anyway, I was part of Mech Force back when that was around, Mech Force Quarterly. Never actually got into the classic BattleTech gameplay, mostly because I didn't know any other people who would be interested in doing it. Although maybe now, being older, being able to find network easier, I guess, I can try and get back into it, and I think I will in the future. Closest I've got is the classic BattleTech RPG books, which are pretty cool. Like I said, I do tabletop RPGs, the classic nerdy stuff, D&D a bit, World of Darkness, Dark Heresy, which I highly recommend for 40k, and I'll probably I think I did a video on it before. I don't know if I didn't. I'll do a video on it. It's pretty cool. Stuff like that. L5R, the nerdy stuff. Not that this isn't nerdy or anything. The hobby stuff. I got into 40k and Games Workshop related hobbies in around 2005. mostly because I've been looking at them for a while. I was looking at them back in 2000 also, and a little bit earlier. Mostly at the Space Marine Dreadnought, and then eventually the Tau Devilfish and the Elder Wraith Lord, and I thought those models looked really cool. And then I thought the price wasn't very cool because I didn't really have a job then, or like anything past minimum wage. But eventually, then I started playing Dawn of War and its expansions, and then around 2005, whatever Dawn of War game was out at that point, and then I decided to get into it. And I actually got into it by buying the Battle for Macragge paint set, which came with 5 Space Marines. So I painted them up in Ultramarine colors. And then I got a little Dreadnought, and I painted that in Ultramarine colors. And I actually bought the Ultramarine Honor Guard when you could bits order them, one of the Honor Guards. And I painted him up because I think the Ultramarine Honor Guards look awesome. Still do. But as much as I like the Ultramarines, I went eventually with the Dark Angels for a moment. For a time, I think about Black Templars because the Emperor's Champion model was really cool looking and still is. But I went with the Dark Angels because I really like their fluff, their look. And from there, I just built my Dark Angels army and learned them. They're my favorite still. I love their codex. I love everything about them. I know them out of the armies that I play. I know them the best, and I can build mid-game tactics and mid-game changes in tactics very easily using them comparatively to other stuff because I just know them better than other armies. And then I eventually branched off. I have Chaos Thousand Suns in the works. I have Chaos Night Lords, just the bits to eventually make them. I got a bunch of Space Marine chapters, like I mentioned in the previous video, in the works, including like the Exorcists, as you've seen that guy before. Got Eldar in the works because I think they're cool. I want to make Dark Eldar once I learn them. Wow, that should have done this a while ago. The video looks a lot better from here. And I was always a huge fan of the Adeptus Mechanicus Guitaria Legions, so I'm using the Imperial Guard Codex to represent them, as you've seen in the previous video. This is the Voxcaster guy in Carapace armor. And I got Adeptus Custodes in the work, and probably this coming weekend I'm trying to get a test model of them done, which will be pretty hard. Not pretty hard to eventually finagle their Guardian Spear. Once I do that, once I figure it out quick enough, I have the bits, I just gotta make it look decent. That shouldn't be a problem. And I'm gonna do a test model for the couple other Space Marine stuff and see how it goes from there. Just generic painting. And while I'm pretty much gonna build on 1750 lists for everything else, in a variety of different game styles, be it Planet Strike or standard 40k gaming. Dark Angels are always my core. I have plans for them eventually in the future to have 5th Battle Company completely done with Command Staff, Ravenwing Company done complete with Command Staff, and Deathwing Company complete with Command Staff. So that's 300 Space Marines just for one chapter, not including Command Staff and support vehicles. I also plan to get into fantasy a little bit with Tomb Kings because I think they look cool for the Egyptian theme, and I think Undead are kind of fun to play. I'm not going to talk too much about that now because I don't want to get into the debate of what is a better game. So I don't think one is better than the other. That's just me. So maybe in another video I'll open that can of worms. As far as my play style, as I mentioned in my Elements of 40k video in the past, I think I'm more water with some fire tendencies sometimes. But like shooting fire, not assault fire tendencies. I build armies and lists based on fluff. Like I love fluff. I love the fluff of 40k and of armies, and I'll make sure to try to be as fluff accurate as I can. But I also will build strong lists. I have fun lists just built for fun. That if I ever made them, would be just fun to play, but probably not very strong or very competitive. But I try to keep everything in line with fluff, because I believe even with fluff, you can still make very competitive and strong lists. It may be a little harder at first because you can't do such overt things, but I think fluff is not weak. I think fluff can be very strong for any of the races. It just takes a little bit getting used to, this power gaming differently, I guess. Instead of using that kill unit, use what's in fluff and just figure out how to use it. And once you figure out how to use what you got, you'll be fine. It's all about knowing how to use what you got and responding, in my opinion. But so that's pretty much how I play. I think fluff is important, and in my opinion, for stuff, because I love it. So that's pretty much it for my rambling. Hope it didn't bore people. And until the next one, take it easy.